Hello and welcome to the Comic Cave. I'm Ramsey, aka Captain Away, and today we're looking at the first volume of the 2024 series Ultimate Black Panther from Marvel Comics. That's right, we're bringing back first volume, and you know what that means? It means it's time for some violins. If you've been following me the last couple months, you'll know that I've become pretty obsessed with the video game Marvel Rivals, and as part of that, I've been wanting to make a video for every Marvel Rivals character. I started a playlist. Black Panther is up next, but picking a Black Panther series out of his multitudes of available options of very long-running titles has been difficult, to say the least. But an opportunity presented itself to me thanks to Rivals, when they dropped this amazing new skin for Storm. This Ultimate Wind Rider outfit got its debut in this very Ultimate Black Panther series, and that seemed like the perfect excuse to talk about this series, because personally, I'm very excited about it. For those that haven't been following along with current events in comic books, we need to start all the way back in 2000. The year, not the decade. Well, I mean, kind of both, but the year. Because that was when the Ultimate Universe first came into existence, with Ultimate Spider-Man launching new stories of a young Peter Parker at the beginning of his career as Spidey. This would be followed by other titles like X-Men and an Ultimate version of the Avengers, and, perhaps most importantly, Ultimate Fantastic Four. Like the other Ultimate series, Ultimate FF began primarily as a retelling of early Marvel Comics, but given a more modern update. As sales for the Ultimate Universe began to decline though, primarily I would argue thanks to the garbage that was Ultimates 3 and Ultimatum, but we don't need to go into that, the Fantastic Four would be among the comics to hit the chopping block and be cancelled. But that's far from the end of the story. Because the Reed Richards of the Ultimate Universe, initially a hero like his main Marvel Universe counterpart, but I mean, come on, look at that face. Look at that face. That face is plotting evil. I mean, come on. He would eventually become twisted and villainous, repurposed by writer Jonathan Hickman into the Maker, and would clash with the heroes from the main universe, particularly in the Secret Wars event that brought the Ultimate Universe literally to an end. Well, other than that one time that Bendis randomly brought it back for like 5 pages of Spider-Man 2, but we don't need to get into that. Because rather than embrace that pathway, Marvel instead sought a new Ultimate Universe. The Maker, living up to his name, traveled into another universe and set about conforming it to his liking, eliminating most superheroes from existence altogether in one way or another, like stepping in to prevent Peter Parker from being bitten by the fateful spider, or by delaying the flight of the Fantastic Four so that they missed the cosmic storm that would have given them their powers. But despite the Maker's best efforts to prevent an Age of Heroes, Howard Stark, this New World's version of Iron Man, would betray him and unlock the way for new heroes to emerge. And that would provide us the fertile playground we need for a new Ultimate Universe filled with new stories of new heroes. And among those would rise the Black Panther. Ultimate Black Panther would be written by Bryan Hill, who had previously worked for DC Comics on Batman stories focused on a new version of The Outsiders, and he'd also done work for Marvel on a Blade comic and, most appropriately, a Killmonger comic. Pencils would be handled by Stefano Caselli, a 20-year comic book veteran, having worked on major titles like Hack Slash, Ironheart, and Amazing Spider-Man. Artist Carlos Nieto would pencil issues 5 and 6 here, and David Curiel would provide colors. Together, this team would bring to life the Africa of this new Ultimate Universe, which is currently being devastated by merciless mercenaries being led by Moon Knight, the somewhat ironic collective name of these two men in the back. This is Ra, god of the sun, and Khonshu, god of the moon. So, you know, only one of them is really a Moon Knight, but that's the name they're going with. As part of the Maker's plan for this world, they were the rulers of the Upper and Lower Kingdoms, which, according to the map in Ultimate Invasion, seems to be localized around Egypt, Libya, Sudan, and Saudi Arabia. with most of the rest of Africa labeled as regional dynasties and local temples, except for that big black spot labeled as undiscovered territory that I think we can safely assume is Wakanda. With the Maker having vanished after Iron Man's attack, Moon Knight are taking the opportunity to attempt to expand their hold over the African continent, violently. But Wakandan King T'Challa and his queen Okoye aren't sure about getting involved in the conflict, despite the readiness of his spies who reported on the devastation and the prompting of T'Challa's sister, Shuri. And this is maybe unimportant, but I just love the character designs in this story. These outfits look so good. I especially love Okoye's redesign. We're just a few pages into the first issue and the art team is already killing it. But Moon Knight is going to make their presence known even in Wakanda. At an annual celebration, a Moon Knight assassin wearing an explosive vest attempts to kill T'Challa, but his father, T'Chaka, saves the king's life at the cost of his own. Poor T'Chaka, always having to die to motivate T'Challa. And T'Challa is motivated. He's barely landed, safe in his Black Panther armor that covered his body like nanotech, before he's announcing war against Moon Knight. And that war begins at home, as Wakandans begin to turn on their own, attempting to weed out the followers of Moon Knight from their own people. And while Okoye worries about the damage this will do to their kingdom, this is not without reason. Because while Wakanda is capable of repelling Moon Knight's soldiers, Ra and Khonshu know where to strike because there is a traitor in Wakanda, someone feeding information and plans to the two self-appointed gods. So to learn more about his opponents, T'Challa attempts to track down Ra and Khonshu's base, only to find himself instead walking paw first into an ambush. Get it? Paw first? Because he's a panther? But there he finds there are other warriors already fighting to protect Africa from Moon Knight. Two warriors, in fact. Storm and Eric Killmonger. Two more absolutely fantastic redesigns, by the way. I already mentioned how great Storm's outfit is, but the aura farming Killmonger is doing here, yeah, he is working it. T'Challa also appreciates Storm's redesign, but that's largely because the Voodoo Khan, a secretive sect of seers that advised the king, informed T'Challa earlier that a woman of light would come to him and provide him with a child. Guess the Voodoo Khan are Storm Panther shippers. The two warriors aren't just protecting innocent villagers from the power-hungry Moon Knight, though. Deciding to trust T'Challa, they lead him to an ancient temple carved into a cave. A place made by a culture that Killmonger says was old before Wakanda was born. And hidden deep inside this temple is the real treasure Moon Knight seeks, the moon itself. Okay, probably not. We're never told, at least within this first volume, what this glowing orb actually is. We're told it does have power over life, particularly the power to make life grow and mutate seemingly wildly and out of control, and the Voodoo Khan suggests that the story is that in this world, two comets crashed down in prehistoric Africa. One that carried the vibranium that allowed Wakanda to exist, and the other that carried this orb of power. And while, again, we're not told anything for certain one way or another, the orb does have a remarkable resemblance to one of the Terrigen spheres the Maker stole from the main Marvel universe right before traveling here, and right after stealing a bunch of vibranium. So that's my theory anyway. But the bad news is, Khonshu manages to send one of his warriors into Wakanda, somehow straight into the lab where Shuri and T'Challa have been studying this orb, and the warrior manages to escape with the sample and bring it to his god. With the orb in hand, Khonshu begins to attempt to truly rewrite himself as a god to the people, going around doing things like healing the sick, raising temples out of the earth from nothing, and performing other such miracles to make zealots of his followers. He then attacks a facility run by foreigners, and when Black Panther shows up to stop him, Khonshu seems to claim that his goal is the liberation of Africa from outside influences. He offers to let Black Panther join him, but when T'Challa refuses, he declares that their kingdoms will now be at war. Which I thought they already were? And that, unfortunately, is where this first volume ends. So it's also where we get to the breakdown. I'll be honest, I am super excited about this new Ultimate Universe. Typically, Marvel's attempts at creating universes have focused on setting it in the real world, but with superheroes. It happened with the original Marvel Universe, it happened with the new universe, and it happened with the first Ultimate Universe. But then the longer those series go on, the more those universes stop feeling like our universe, making that original real-world focus feel extra pointless. But this time, they're starting with a universe entirely unlike our own, one left in ruins by the machinations of the Maker. And that leaves so much opportunity for so much storytelling potential, as these heroic characters find themselves trapped in a dystopian world and having to find ways to make the most of it. And one of the earliest stories to view this new world being set in Wakanda is just perfect. It lets us start with so much mystery and new mythos to really get that world building going. And it helps that the team is clearly doing such a good job with what they're working with. And that the art in the series is just so damn gorgeous. So for the first time, I think, I'm rating my future interest in this series as very high. I not only am definitely going to be reading more of this series, I already have. It's so good. I'm all in. Let's go! Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I've been saying I'm gonna get to big Marvel Summer events, and that is coming, I promise. But it takes a bit longer to make those videos, and I'm trying to keep videos coming out regularly, so that's why I'm trying to do some of these other smaller videos as well. So don't be surprised if I inject a few Marvel Rivals themed videos or something else along the way. If that sounds good to you, or you did enjoy this video, or you're just prepared to start a new universe with me, then make sure to click the like and subscribe and all those things so you can help the channel out. And so you can help yourself to be sure to be here next time, and I hope to see you then, right here in the Comic Cave.